Mm. You might recall about 6 to 8 months ago when I said that the United States will beat its chest, but it will capitulate to China because it doesn't really have what it takes, especially now they've depleted themselves with Iran. How else do you think there's a peace deal being struck with Iran? Iran. They submitted like a dog pissing itself. That's what's happened. That's why they're not talking about the meeting in China. Donald Trump went over there. Now he's returned home. And shots fired out the front of the White House. And guess who's in Beijing right now? Vladimir Putin. So I guess we have a socialist democracy, being Russia, and the Chinese Communist Party, like China, and now top dogs on the ladder of who's the big, who's the peacekeeper and who's the dominant standard setter of the world. America's done. They're just running around bloody beating their chest and trying to look tough now. The reason why I call them the United States of degenerates. So where does that leave things? We need to piss Pine Gap off out of it. We need to get all those American bases out of Australia. That's a fact. That's just, we've got to do that. We need to start thinking about just how much we've been divided over the years, to the point way back on the Wayback Machine, way back when, 1940s or whatever, there were two authors that wrote a book each. I wrote a few books. Aldous Huxley wrote a book called Brave New World. George Orwell, as everyone knows, wrote 1984, as well as Animal Farm and Watership Down. Now, back it's crook. Even that is given the world two opposing dystopian futures to argue over. Which one is it? Both. See, now Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Morals have gone out the window, ethics have gone out the window, traditional family values have gone out the window. She was a free range free for all. Everyone was taken care of. In other words, they didn't have to work. Sound familiar to where we're headed? Didn't have to work, and to keep the people docile because, to stop them getting restless and irritated and frustrated and angry for not having a purpose or any value or meaning to their life. Everyone was given drugs to keep them numb, dumb, and feeling the love. Monogamy was gone out the window. Everyone had a universal basic income. Mm. Kind of like where we're headed with this digital, 15-minute digital smart city thing. But we already had that. Plus, we also had the Orwellian 1984 world at the same time being built. I did state a point here quite a while ago. I said it's now become obvious to me that the pathway to 1984 is through Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Which brings me to this point. I saw something there yesterday about a big drug bust in some generators. Apparently, the border patrol people noticed some anomalies with the shipment. I'm guessing the anomalies were that it didn't have diplomatic immunity, but it was tagged as like no one was meant to look in it or something of that nature. I'm guessing. In other words, it was meant to catch their attention. It apparently came from Mexico. It was crystal methamphetamine, MDMA, and cocaine. 370 odd tons of meth. Ice. No, tons, kilos, sorry. 300 odd kilos, plus with the other two drugs combined. Gave it a weight of around half a ton of drugs. Sounds like a lot. But for an entire country. Now, let's do the process of elimination of common sense. For one person, that's a lot to purchase. It's a big purchase. No, it's a multi-million-dollar purchase plus getting it here and so forth. They're saying that it probably belongs to a syndicate. Now, I don't know about you, but any syndicate buying a significant amount such as that, which it is a significant amount, but it's not really a haul. Wouldn't be stupid enough to ship it here through ordinary ports where it would risk going through border patrol and so forth. Half a ton of it hidden inside generators. Yeah. Which brings me to this. Because large amounts, like when we're talking large amounts, the actual what comes into the country and gets spread around all the states, that has diplomatic immunity. That's how they get it in. It comes in shipping containers for foreign embassies. Mexico, cartels in Mexico have plenty of ways. The country's run by the cartels. They have the means and plenty of ways to get it put into a shipping container with diplomatic immunity, which is what happened. So why was that put in there? It was meant to be found. Why? Well, the war on drugs. You got to throw them. You got to throw them a bone now and then. The Australian Federal Police and Border Patrol um, have to be seen to be making some sort of an effort. Now, the average innocent punter out there has absolutely no clue how much it takes to feed a country. It's just like people think like with marijuana, somebody can grow a plant or two, and that's classed as that's econops, and that's personal use, and you don't need to grow any more than a couple of plants for personal use for a year. Yeah, right. You don't smoke the stems. You don't smoke the major laterals. You don't smoke the leaf. And once you've dried the flowers out, they shrink down to about a quarter of their size. If you're really good at growing pot, you'll get a pound to a pound and a half off a plant if you grow it outside naturally. Pound's not a lot. Now, to feed a country, well, it doesn't make sense to me for somebody to order that amount of those specific drugs. So what is it? It's either something that was meant to be found, so it's seen to be, making an effort on the war on drugs, just to keep the people happy. This is in actual fact. It's allowed to happen, as I said. Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. The war on drugs has done more damage than the drugs themselves. The war on drugs has broken more homes than the American Civil War and the Berlin Wall combined. And it's saying something. The war on drugs. You see, you've got the two programmed stereotypes. Someone in the home is on drugs, and then there's always the mother or the father or both, or they've been programmed by the boomers. It's a love for money. So when you've got someone who's addicted to drugs living in the home that belongs to someone who's in love with money, they think that everything's all money. Go to school, study hard, leave school, get a job, marry, buy a house, work your ass off. Right. Everything's all about hustle and bustle and never letting an opportunity slip. That's two very, very different mindsets trying to coexist under the one roof. It tears the home apart. That's all by design. See, a broken home isn't a united home. Now imagine if all the families in Australia were good, strong, traditional Christian valued families still now, and all united. That would mean everyone would be united because we'd all be We'll all be walking under the same banner. What differences that we did have would be so infinitesimal, it'd be irrelevant. So we wouldn't be arguing with each other. We wouldn't have this left versus right bullshit. We wouldn't have Labor, Liberal, whatever arguments. We wouldn't have fights in the home over no good, drugs are no good, rah rah. I work hard. That's where the argument comes from. I work hard to support this family, this house, rah rah. And next thing you know, someone's kicked out of home. Why? Because they put the love of money before the love of their children. It's fact. It's an absolute fact. Look at what happens when a divorce happens. Look at how selfish the parents turn. They don't give any consideration whatsoever to their children. Oh, they'll try and buy them. They'll try and turn... They're idiots. So... it's by design. It's like... what's another argument that we have? Immigration. Immigration's a problem, yes, but it's only a problem out of many problems that we are given. They're created. These problems are created. They don't just happen by accident. Is immigration a problem? Yeah. Almost Isaac Butterfield made a video. These people just walking in here, 3,500 people every day walking into Australia. Right. They're not just walking into Australia. They're being invited by the government. Why are they being invited by the government? To destabilise this country. They destabilise their country. He said, why do these people need somewhere to come to? We go and stick our nose into other countries, following America in, clippity-clop. For regime change, we destabilise their countries. We train up militias like bloody ISIS and the Taliban and Al Qaeda, and the list goes on. We train those people up to destabilise their country, to destabilise their governments, so that then we get to go in and give them our democracy by force and install our own puppet governments. Look at Palestine. It's destroyed. And they're auctioning it off. Here in Australia and over in America, you can buy land in Palestine. They're auctioning it off. Apparently the Palestinians didn't own Palestine. Didn't own their own place. So where else are they going to go? So there's that problem created. And you've got the humanitarian. This is how you know, even if they don't know it, they're on the same team. They're idiots. All parties are on the same team, working for government, working for an agenda. An agenda that's handed to them from above, over the top of government. You've got the humanitarians. Oh, they need somewhere to live. We've got to let them in. We have to let them in. We have an obligation. Okay, they're probably right. And then you've got the other side of the coin, like One Nation. As far as I'm concerned, are nothing but white supremacists. They've got to kill us all. The Muslims will kill us all. We have to, they want to keep warring with them and destroying their countries. Not even thinking about the fact that there's just as many Christians as there are Muslims in their countries. narrow-minded idiots. If the Muslims want to kill all the Christians, then why are there so many Christians living in their countries peacefully until we come along? Ask yourself that. See, so the problem's created, and it's just something else that we're all arguing about. Well, now we're having the Tommy Robinson argument. Stephen Yaxley Lennon, his real name. Now we've got clowns like Scott Challen running around like bloody Tommy Robinson, stirring up the fucking gronks. People make stupid statements, oh, Muslims want to cut our heads off. No, they don't. Militias do. Some of them probably do. Can you blame them? We blew their country, their homes, their families to pieces. Their children. We left children crippled with no families or home. That's democracy for you. So they're all on the same team. The drugs are allowed to flow into the country just to keep us chasing our asses and divide more and divide more and divide more. Here's a question for you. How many times can you divide something into two, split it in two, repeatedly over and over and over until you can't split it into two anymore? There's not enough left. What's the population of the world again? That's how many times. Apparently, seems to be the game plan. Everyone has the answer, and everybody else's answer's wrong. Everyone else is the problem. How many people are aware? Been saying this for ages. I was trying to get the council to admit this crap 2 years ago. I've known it since like the 1980s. What's coming now? Australia just spent more on a single purchase of multiple items, but a single purchase for an import than our entire exports for a month combined. What do you reckon they bought? Industrial data centre hardware. All this stuff for building the big outside data centres like in America. We've already got more data centres in China. Nobody's aware of that. I said months ago, Marinus was about data. It's finally come to light now. People are going, oh, there's no Marinus things about data. Duh. I'm not trying to be the smart ass like I told you so. Why don't you just listen to me? But hey, why don't you just listen to me? I mean, Australia's now a communist country. How many people were aware when they voted for Anthony Albanese that he was the president of the Young Australian Communist Foundation? Something like that it was called. He was president of it. He's a communist. Penny Wong's a communist. We're a communist country with a democratic label. Nothing democratic about this country anymore. They force laws on us that we didn't ask for. We don't get to vote on it. That's full-blown communism. Now, finish off with this. 1929, the Great Depression. What triggered it? Like, America was the main instigator in what created a worldwide depression at that time. What triggered it? A real estate bubble. A housing bubble burst, which created a worldwide depression because it crashed the stock markets. Economies crashed everywhere. Except they didn't have a whole heap of debt. See, their problem had a ripple-on effect all over the world. And the rest of the world didn't have the problems that we have now. We're $1 trillion in debt. America's way over that. As the American dollar is failing, the petrodollar, fiat currency, as it's failing, and the BRICS nations' economies are getting fatter, they're doing all right, because they're based on actual, tangible, valuable assets, not promissory notes. The entire Western world's economy is about to crash at the same time as the entire Western world has a real estate bubble that's about to burst. Here, New Zealand, Europe, United States. $1929 is going to look like it's a rough week compared to what's coming. Oh yeah, and our logistics are stuffed. We've got no diesel. Donald Trump is negotiating a peace deal, but how long will that take? And what have we got? Down about 20 days of strategic reserve left in our diesel. 20 days. Do you understand the seriousness of that? If we don't get some fuel, if we don't get diesel sorted right quick, and we don't do something about getting our energy companies to pull their heads in, it could be a case of empty supermarket shelves in 20 days. The system is so fragile and people don't realise it. It's always been fragile. Well, time I went to bed. That's how I am now. I've got to exhaust myself before I can sleep. Honestly. I'm fucking terrified. I am really, really worried about the future. It looks grim. I worry for my kids. Big time. Even more so, you can call me selfish and stupid. You can call me whatever you like. I don't care. But there are certain moral standpoints, certain moral grounds that you cannot budge from. There are lines that you cannot allow anyone to step over, and you cannot let that line fade. I am not going to play the digital game. I'm just not gonna. So all you so-called law enforcement gronks out there and politicians and say, "Oh, you fucking idiots getting around Burnie at the council and down the fucking pig shop and that fucking kangaroo fucking magistrates court." I'm going to be a real problem for you. I don't want to be, but you leave me with no choice. Remember, the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason and plot. They already started war with me. They started ages ago. I'm the anomaly they don't know what to do with. I'm the anomaly. For Bernie, they don't know what to do with me. All the young ones think I'm cuckoo. All the older ones are like, not the older ones. They're like, what do they call me? I'm a bit obstructive. No, I'm not. Not at all. You see, who's obstructing her? You stand in my way when I'm minding my own business. You're obstructing me. I'm not going to be easy to pull up, you know. It's like, excuse me, can I help you? I didn't ask for you to be in my face. Oh, random, is it? Yeah, sure it is. I know they plan to lock a lot of people up, Andy. Hence the super court. I reckon we're getting a prison up here somewhere soon. They're just letting people fly. They're just letting it go in and out, in and out, and in and out of court, building their records. not stopping the supply. They're not cutting down the tree. They're giving everyone just enough rope to hang themselves. And their little pathetic war on drugs. Now, I think most people, you get these people, they're like, something's changed, something's not right, the world's changed, and you can't quite put our finger on it. Oh, yeah, you can. Of course you can. You know exactly what it is. One, your pride's getting in the way of admitting to yourself and publicly, like, them conspiracy theorists were right about a lot of stuff. You don't want to admit it. You don't want to admit that the cuckoo people weren't cuckoo. Secondly, you don't want to join forces with them. You don't want to put yourself in the same bus, because then it means that you have to listen to them more, us more. Not only you're too proud to admit that we were right and you were wrong, which is what makes you wrong instead of mistaken. You're that proud that you let the whole world go to ruin. Rather than ask us for any advice. And the other side of it, cognitive dissonance. You know it's true, but you're convincing yourself it's not. The same reason an ostrich buries its head in the sand. You're believing two things opposed to each other to be true at the same time. Oh, this is all going to happen, but we'll be right because it won't happen. No, that's not going to happen, even though it's happening right in front of you. You're taking their cars off us. You're taking everyone's firearms away. Your ability to travel. Your ability to do anything anonymously. Anything. No more garage sales without the government knowing that old John up the road bought a lawnmower off Peter from round the corner at a garage sale and then had to pay tax on it. But then they'll take that away. Why? Well, they don't want us mowing lawns and stuff. We have to own nothing and be happy, remember? We've got to sit around all docile with our stupid little... All the drones do everything for us and we live in a concrete jungle. To the point that we stop breeding, we stop even wanting to live. Because what's the point? Everything that's happening now, I've known it forever. You should try walking around with that in your head your entire life. They even plan to take our pets away at some point. No pets. No pets, no gardens, maybe a pot plant. If you've got elderly family, any family that lives over 15 kilometres, what, so many kilometres away, you'll be able to visit them a limited amount of times a year because of carbon, you know. Carbon. That one thing that we need for vegetation to grow. Carbon and bees. So, here's a challenge for you. When you're sitting at the dinner table having tea tomorrow night, look your kids in the eyes and tell them that everything's going to be alright. And then see how your gut turns, because you know it ain't.